Hi, I'm Tom with Composite Designs. On this episode, we're going to finish the plug for our roof. So stick around. Okay, so we're going to have to do some touch up here. I'm not too happy with the corners here. So what we're going to do is we mixed up a small batch of hydrocal. And we're just going to do just that area, and then after that we're just going to mix up little bits and fill in the pit marks and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that this is wet, got moisture in it, because we don't want it to immediately suck the moisture out of the other. We're going to place some down here. Come in, kind of fill in there, and then just pull it around the corner. And do the same over here. So while it doesn't look as good as you would think, this basic shape is fixed. What we're going to do, we'll let that cure. We'll hit it with some sandpaper, and then we'll start filling in all the little marks. So as you can see, a lot has changed since we left off. I had to do a lot, unfortunately, with other equipment running, and just the audio wasn't good, and there was a lot of starts and stops, and it really wasn't conducive to filming. So I got some pictures that I'm going to show along as I explain the steps that I went through, and I got a little bit of video with no sound. It just, unfortunately, I can't shut everything down sometimes when I'm working. So this is what we did. We went ahead and we used Bondo and joint compound. You can use joint compound. I was in a bit of a rush, so I used Bondo to fill in the areas that had blemishes and issues. We went ahead and sanded them. When we were done with the sanding, we went back and forth, got as good as we could. One of the tips to do is we sprayed on some cheap automotive primer. That lets you see a lot of things that you may not see when everything's white or that tannish color or Bondo. And then once we got it really good to where we want it, just little pinholes and stuff like that, we went ahead and brushed on a high build primer and sanded that, and then we sprayed the final coat. It has a few blemishes in it. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but for what it is, you got to remember the final pieces are also going to be are going to have to be reworked anyway and sanded in order to get paint to stick. So the little bit that's in here, I'm really not worried about. How far you take it, how much time you take it with it, spend on it, is really going to tell you, or is really going to show you what your final finish is going to be. So if you have time and you can spend it, that's great, and I highly recommend doing it, especially if the parts aren't going to be painted and you're going to put gel coat on them and stuff. We're not really doing that in this case. So we're at that point. We've gone ahead, it's got its final primer on it. We are almost ready to mold, but we're going to want lips here, because when the mold will be the inverse of this, and we want to be able to flip it over and have it sit on the table nicely for when we're working. So the quick way to do this, I just have these strips of MDF. They are 1 inch by 1/2 inch. They're the same material as we made the base out of. And all we're going to do is we're just going to take some screws, countersink some holes, so one of the things to learn about with MDF, in this particular application, and I forgot to do it, shame on me, even though I knew better, is we're going to pre-drill these holes bigger than they need to be, because otherwise you will get splits. Now I just went ahead and I will just glue them together. It's not a big deal in this case. It's nothing structural, but you probably should avoid doing it in the first place. We're definitely also going to want to countersink the screws, because we want the screws to be well above the rib. And you'll see in a later video, we're actually going to use a vibrating tool and come along here to cut that all the way around and give us a nice even surface when you flip the mold over. So you don't want to be hitting any of the screw heads, so make sure that you go ahead and countersink them so that you don't run into that problem. So there is a little cracks in here. Really the key thing is that this right here is flat, which is what we want. Is this the ideal method? No, it's what I had laying around, and the parts are going to be, that's going to be thrown out anyway. So we're going to end it right here. This is all ready to go at this point, other than we're going to put a little clay to make some fillet edges. We'll do that right before we're getting ready to actually lay up the mold, so it doesn't dry out. And we're going to put this one aside, work on the one for the ribs, and after that one is done, we'll make both molds at the same time. So if you like these how-to videos, be sure to click that subscribe button, check the links down below, check out our website, that link is in there too, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.